I started as a software engineer. I got my bachelor, I started working in a company as a developer, then architect. I did a special course here in the United States in Carnegie Mellon as a professional software architect. I was deeply involved in technology, I love it. But I started to grow in my company, and I was head of enterprise architecture in a very big healthcare company in Argentina. At that point, I started to get involved in the business. I have to align the businesses with the IT, innovation, IT projects. So at that point of my life, I decided to make an MBA. The university I went to make my MBA is Harvard University sister, and it's deeply involved in startup ecosystem. So I took several subjects about investment, about the life cycle of startups, all that. So I fell in love with startup. I really was excited about startup, and when I finished my MBA, I found my own startup, a health startup there in Argentina, in partnership with a home healthcare company. We create a platform for home healthcare administration. It was tremendous. It was a tremendous experience. I went back to the technology because when you start a new company, and probably you have the roles in you, but you are all hands-on. I go to front end, back end. I refresh my knowledge about technology, how the Java version change, the new Node.js tended trends and all that. I create CI/CD pipelines. I configure cloud infrastructure. So I was so excited. I was 5 years there, and I was invited to be part of Hollywood, which is another startup, but here in the United States. My partners in Argentina, the application there is working. They are trying to sell the application to Spain and Latin America, and now I'm working in Hollywood. I would not like to pitch you what Hollywood is, but I will give you some introduction because I will use during the presentation. So let me tell you what Hollywood is. Hollywood is a social network. It's a social network that tries to get together job seekers and companies. It's like a LinkedIn, but for Hollywood. The thing is that we developed version 1 as quick as we can to start getting users, and we discovered that the problem really exists. And we discovered that we can solve the problem with our solution. So we are very excited. We developed version 2 with our own funding. And with the version 2, we provide some other features in order to get our customers in a longer transaction, to keep them inside the application for a long time and have a business model of continuous company customers and a lot of free users that are the job seekers and employees. So, any questions until now? Any comment? Any doubt? Any clarification? So, let's straight to the point. The startup ecosystem. So, this is an incredible article that appeared in the February 14 magazine. It's very adequate for the moment because we've been talking about exactly this. A startup 5 years ago there was an article about unicorns. 5 years later, we have a unicorn. The unicorns in a daily situation. Why is that? The last 2 years, the statement was money is no longer free. We come from an era of you can found a company, you raise money, you can go for 7 years losing money, but growing and depending on several rounds. Well, that era ends. The investors are getting more suspicious. there was a tightening of the flows of money to the company in the last 2 to 3 years, and it's a consequence of several key factors. Macroeconomic conditions. With all that money for free, the volume of money in the market rise a lot. Then COVID comes and the government starts printing money, and that produces an overhead of money in the market. So it produces inflation. And governments started to try to control that inflation by hiking the interest rates. So money went no longer free. And that produced different situations of changes in the structure of cost of the companies. It offered other investment opportunities to a lot of people, to a lot of investor groups. So they become more cautious on where to put the money. There was a new valuation of the companies, and the rounds were getting down. So that produced a change in the landscape of investment and funding. Trying to reach the next round was more difficult, and that's why certain unicorns start to die because they couldn't achieve the next round. So, because, for example, this article talks about a company that needs 18 months for the next round, and they couldn't achieve. So they had to close. So you are seeing now layoff and a lot of changes in the technology market. What are the trends now? Or what are the trends until December 23? The tech companies are not the debt they used to be. The money is not easy for them. They need to prove their value. They need to prove a clear path to profitability. And the investors become very weak in that sense. What other trends we have? Well, the investors turn to ecology or renewable company-oriented industries, and sectors more who can guarantee certain revenue. We're going to talk about it in the next slide. So, what were the rational perspective until December? Well, Europe and United States became very similar in the behavior, but the advantage of Europe was that some governments were better pushing it because they have this support with some money. And in Latin America, we found that Latin America could control the inflation very quickly. So, except for Venezuela and Argentina, right? They are not Latin Americans, separate. As they could control inflation, they developed certain groups of investors, and they could get certain local investment initiative, and they have a different behavior than the rest of the Eastern world. So, what we expect for 2024? Here you can find how 2023 behaved. What I said before, we can see a decrease in the fundraising activity. We can see many companies closing. We can see how the merchant acquisition changed and how the rates go up. What do we expect for this year? Well, we're just starting to see how all the government interest rates start affecting the inflation. Inflation is not decreasing, but at least it's more slow. It's not growing as fast as the second part of the last year. And we expect that by the end of this year, we can see inflation go down, and we hope to see some lower interest rate. that will increase the investment activity because it again venture investment could be more attractive. So regarding industries, in the previous slide we talked about IT and how the investors are getting more cautious. Okay, it's gonna continue to be like that, but they will be focused on AI, but not AI per AI itself. They will try to invest in AI companies with applied technology. You know, the companies that use AI in a smarter way. They will try to focus on companies that can prove that they can solve, I don't know, healthcare diagnostic, improve user experience. Well, you have a company implemented AI, right? And it's applied for distribution, logistics, and all that. So this is a company that could be attractive this year, and investors are focusing on those companies. Augmented reality, virtual reality, is becoming a trend too. Investors are looking at this kind of company with very interest, and they, as I told you before, they try to look for quickly return of investment. Because as we have a world with wars, as we have a geopolitical situation very conflicted right now, it creates an average of risk, right? So investors are looking for short-term of investment, so they are looking to a clear path to profitability. So what are the takeout of this? That startup will need to prove their worth. They need to prove this clear path to profitability or the value for the market. Competition remains intense, and it will be interesting for companies to align to these trends that we've been talking a minute ago. This trend of virtual reality, this trend of applied AI, and have the ability to adapt to the changes in the economy that we are suffering. Probably, I don't know, we have elections this year, we have petroleum will change its value from today to tomorrow. So the company have to adapt to it and manage short period of development and not create a dependency of the rounds for longer periods of time. So, do you want to add anything? Do you want to share something, some experience? Any questions? Okay. So, build those the trends and consider what financial stress could be considered. We can start talking about what is financial stress for startups and in the different stage of the company. Because it's not the same situation where you are starting, you are putting your own money, your family, your friends' money, and it's a nice bet, but it's a different situation that you want to grow. So at the very beginning, you have to manage uncertainty and resource allocation. You have to think what your major threat is. What is your major threat? How you burn the money. You know, because a financial cash flow works perfect when you have an idea. The first thing you do, you don't consider competency, you don't consider if you have a real problem, you make a cash flow. And you say, hey, this business works. I put this money, I will spend it in this way, and at the end I will have a product that will bring me a lot of money, and the total is positive, so okay, let's go. The thing is that you have to consider hidden cost. And when you do that cash flow, you have the risk or not of not considering the correct cost structure. And that's the main threat you have when you are in a seed stage. As the company grows, the financial stress go through how to manage the growth, because you have your product. Some users are users of your products. Suddenly you get some money and you say, okay, I will go across the country. I will cross the frontier and start selling to different countries. And suddenly your infrastructure grows, and you don't know how to manage, and cost fires. I gave some examples about IT, but I think it applies to certain industry. For example, you have a logistics company and you buy trucks, and suddenly you have to put fuel in those trucks, and probably you start going to places that you have different restrictions, you have different group of workers that affects you and all that. So as the company grows, the financial stress changes and you have to grow with it. What are some important indicators at different moments of the company? As I told you before, when you're a seed company, how you burn the money. That's crucial, and probably the only one factor you have to look at the very beginning. But as the company grows, you have to think about how your profitability declines, how your the rotation of people in your company, because when you are a very big company or a very big startup and you are looking for an IPO, the names of your company attracts money. Can create a better chance to have a better price in an IPO. So if you lose some key position of your company at that moment, it will affect the sentiment of your investors, the public, and you have to take care of that. So there are different indicators depending on the size of the company and the situation of the company as it grows. Knowing that the company have different stress scenarios, the role of the CTO is a key role in each of these scenarios. As the company grows, the abilities of the CTO has to grow. It has to develop new skills, and it has to be prepared for those changes, or the company probably should need to change the CTO depending on the situation of the company. At the very beginning, you want a CTO very hands-on, who can keep all the knowledge of the technology you develop, a person who can supply any position and sometimes help you with the cost management by reducing the structure, supported by the CTO role. Very deeply technology person who can code, who knows about APIs, how to integrate, how to prepare the platform and manage the technical debt. But as the company grows, you grow in structure. You start to have several groups of developers or development team. So now the CTO has to have the ability to manage how to set development procedures, how to, make the company a little tidy in order to start getting serious rounds. Because you have to present documents, you have to present the quality attribute of your product, so you have to develop communication skills. So the CTO is growing, and that's why sometimes you see a job post looking for a CTO, and they are looking for something famous or for something with proven track record in certain industry, because they are behind certain group of investors, and they want to bring someone that the investor knows, or that can prove that, hey, I take a company to an IPO, so trust me. I can lead this. So as the company continues growing, you have to start thinking in escalation, changing technology. Innovation is not more about what products can I put in my product, in my solution, in order to be innovative. I have to start learning how innovation affects my business, affects the market, how my customers will go away to another product because some innovation changed the rules of the business. So you are not just a technician looking for some technology to apply. You have to see the technology and you have to have the ability to analyze how it impacts your business. So these are, the big picture here is the CTOs go from a very technology guy that is the guardian of our development, our MVP, and grows to a business guy who can communicate, have developed certain abilities, and is a main actor in the strategic planning of the company. So some things you can learn, some things you can get, but some things you have probably to change the CTO or to be humble enough to understand your position and adequate the structure of the company accordingly to face every stage of the company. So being that the roles of the CTO in each stage, common questions, experiences.
Do you have any learnings from deploying capital at that seed stage of where any learnings, any mistakes you made of like where you focus, how you deploy that capital throughout your engineering team?
Yes. What will we talk about?
Quick question. The list of responsibilities in that slide changes, and the skills that are needed for each one of them do change as we go up. Is it common for like one person to go over that, or is there like a lot of examples of, hey, this person's great at building, somebody else is better, like?
Yeah, that's my style. Sometimes you can, as a CTO founder, sometimes you can adapt. Sometimes you have to be humble enough to make a step aside, be just an engineer manager, and leave another guy to lead. Imagine that you have an AI company, and you want to go to an IPO. Who do you want to have sit in the CTO chair? Me or Sam Altman? You know, if you have Sam Altman at that chair, probably you're going to get billions. With me, just a couple of billion.
So if that switch happens, what happens usually with the original co-founder or whatever?
I don't have the experience for that. But there are different scenarios. There are totally different scenarios. I know a lot of people that move away, and I know, for example, Sam Altman, a guy with a lot of experience, started from a different position. You know, he jumped from here to here in minutes. So he was prepared for that, and you don't need to know that. But when you start humble and you are new and young and you don't have the badge of some other success, probably you have to do this. For example, in my case, in the future, I will look for a position in a company in a more advanced stage, because I have two experiences in seed stage, going to the early stage, but I really want to gain experience in these advanced stages. So probably I will accept to go as an engineer manager, director, or something like that to a company like in a more advanced situation, and gain experience on those stages of the company. I think if I have to think in my career, I'm not get million current software. That's what I think. So the challenge you face when you have to make technical decisions in the seed stage depend on the strategy you select at the beginning of the project. As we will see in the next slide, we had certain strategy. Basically, go fast to the market to start to grow our business, but not with an MVP, something more than an MVP. We want to grow with a fully functional product. So, all my decisions were a trade-off between use, trending products, manage technical debt, but going faster to the market and have a very precise cost management. So, in that trade-off, for example, I implement a search platform. My decision was, or my options were, implement completely from scratch, implement an API product inside my application, or hire a second service. In the three situations, we have trade-off. If I hire an external service, the cost is bigger, and the impact is bigger in the cost structure of my company, because I have to pay for each search. If I decide to build it from scratch, nobody in my team have experience for it, and also it will take me more time. Probably we are comparing 4 months to 1. So at that, we put the product in the market in 4 months. So a 4-month delay will be below. So we decided to hire an external service. But what I did was connecting with different search engine providers, and I could negotiate with one of them 1 year of free use of the tool, a kind of startup plan. So I could go to the market in 4 months, start using my application in production, and not pay for the search for the first year. So, as you can see, there are certain abilities in the CDO in this case that help the company not only in the technological implementation, but also in cost management and this kind of thing. So I did the same with resume parsing. It's a core function for us. But again, we don't have the experience on the database of words, word etymology, to process a resume. You have, 30 different words to say the same, and there are companies that are specialized in it. So we decided to hire a service, a parsing service, with AI implementing and all that. It will take a year for us to make something. So that is about integration and some features. But you also have infrastructure. Remember when I talk about hidden cost? Well, infrastructure is a black hole for hidden cost, because you think you sit in the AWS calculator and say, okay, I will have 3 servers for 24/7, blah blah blah, $200 per month. Okay. Probably it could transform in $1,000 per month, just like that. So why is that? Because you have to consider how many environments you have. How do you want in your development process? Do you want to have a specific environment with a code freeze for QA testing or for demos? Okay, it increases cost. And did you consider that in your original workflow or the cash flow? And in this case, $1,000 per month affected us seriously because we put our money in it. Also, if you want to consider availability, if you want to go to production, the minimum stack of servers you need are 3. So you have to multiply by 3 each instance of your servers. If you have a microservice architecture, you will have multiple servers multiplied by 3 running to give you 24/7. If you want to have networking in different physical places for disaster recovery, you have to pay for that, for the processing of that network. So there are a lot of hidden costs inside infrastructure that you have to take care of. Licenses. We have to go faster in the development process. So we hire Copilot for every developer. $100 each one of them. If you want to work with microservices, APIs, etc., you use Postman. It's a very useful tool. You have to pay $1,000 per developer per year. But these two things accelerate a lot the development process. Well, we'll be talking today about if you hire senior developers or junior developers. Senior, of course. At least, 25% of the students should be senior. It will accelerate your development. Depending on your strategy, if you want to go fast, you will see the hiring senior engineers, I could get a quick framework for development. We could create our own development framework that reduce 25-30% the time of getting a new API published in our microservice. How is that? Because we create snippets, we create tenant installation, all provided by the framework, and the developer doesn't have to take care of it. So every request from our side came with the company identification, the user identification, and all the requests through the platform keep this information and isolate the data depending on the tenant we are calling from. So I probably keep it technical, but it's an example of how we accelerate the process. The developer didn't have to take care of this. They didn't even think about it.
How big was the team of senior developers to get this product out to?
25-30%.
No, but how many employees? How many full-time? Was it full-time employees, contractors?
Full-time employees.
And how many?
We had 10 in the peak, the moment. Now we reduced our structure. We finished development version 2, and we are focused on moving to the next slide. We are focused in the just UX refining, and we are focused on marketing, user base.
So that was the influx to get the platform ready within that time span.
Correct.
You deployed the capital to be able to get that milestone, and then now you're trimming on.
Exactly. Our next version in the roadmap is to add AI to get founders, to attract investors. Now, but the truth is we want AI because we discovered that the CEO is an expert in recruiting. He knows that recruiters spend a lot of time selecting resumes and people, and if we can apply AI for matching and recommendation, it will help a lot people and customers. Those customers are not people. Well, project manager, you ask, you can use UX/UI. You want your own team, or do you want to hire some UX/UI service? In our case, we hire. We don't have any UX specialists in our team. And finally, structure cost. When you publish in Apple Store or Google, you have 30%, 20% fee. So you have to consider that. As our strategy was to compete by price, because we go to the hourly work industry, we go to small business, so we compete by price with all the job post portals. So a 30% in our price is a lot. We should take some decisions. And obviously, payment gateways also cost you a fee. So now, what were our sorry?
Question.
Yes. Sorry.
So you're talking a little bit about the vendors and partners that you had a piece of technology for a year free trial, right?
Yes.
Now, I'd like to learn more about how did you evaluate the vendor, and then did you have an exit strategy? In terms of evaluation, how do you think about the functionality or maybe expansion or scalability of the product? So, yeah.
In this case, I selected product first because it has a lot of features out of the box. It allows you not only to search, but also provide the user recommendation. It can catch the last result. It has a fully developed API, front-end API for to do the search more user-friendly. So a lot of features. So that's one factor. The second factor was the engine is fully scalable. You just can grow, and they have a very scalable architecture. And it's a cloud, so it's service cloud, so I don't have to do it. And my strategy to move out of that product, we move some of our microservices to MongoDB, and MongoDB gave me a lot of features for search if in case of I have to move out. In fact, remember the pyramid, inverted pyramid? When we reach the second stage, when we try to grow through the country, we will move out from that product and create our own search engine based on Mongo features. Because the cost, every search costs me $1 thousands of dollars. So, what were the key decisions or what was the strategy in the beginning that moved to these decisions? At the very beginning, we decided to keep the company running with the initial investment until, I don't know if we can call Series A, but we want a big run. We don't want to resign a lot of equity for low money. So we want to go for a big round from the very beginning. So we decided to keep our cost low, our structure at the minimum, and it implies a lot of effort from the founders. I invest a lot of my time and effort. I coded, I configured the structure, I create the pipelines. The owner or the CEO of the company is in charge of marketing, sales. He's getting with measure of the cities. She's having meetings with companies, associations, and trying to sell the product. And we also decided to move quickly to the market, start getting users, and create a version 2 to be fully functional and have something else, something more than an MVP. Why is that? Because we want to start selling. So if we have a big user base and we have sales, we can get this big run. We know how was the context at that moment, that the investors were becoming picky, and they wanted a clear path to profitability. So that's why we wanted to start selling quickly. So I mentioned,
Was the decision to go straight bigger than an MVP as well because you knew you had like a product market fit? Or?
Yes, we want to adapt to the economic conditions of the moment. We wanted to adapt to what the investors were looking for. They were looking at clear path to profitability, so we want to start building as quick as we can.
So you worked on that first phase 1 for 4 months without a
Correct. The first version start getting user, the version 2 start getting customers.
Was there anything when you released version 1 that you kind of like wish you'd known like beforehand?
Yes. Limit the requirements that my partner did for the version. I think we could go to the market with less features than we have. It was too big. I have the core team of developers are following me in my last 2 projects. So they're very committed. They really like to work with me, and they ask them an extra effort for the first version, and they did. So it was a special situation. My lesson is, hey, we should keep that a little small.
What would you have taken out?
What would I have taken out? For example, the messaging part. We spend a lot of time in the messaging part between users, and I think I saw it's not very used yet. Because at the beginning, you create a big user base, but it's hard to start building a community. You know, we don't have many companies on the product. We don't have, a lot of people work there. So they're not. It's not. It's not your new WhatsApp. So it's the same as Facebook. Who use Facebook messaging? Almost no. So what is the issue? For my partner, it becomes something really important. I don't see people using it. In fact, for example, we have all the interview process, all the hiring process embedded in the application. We put this feature considering video interview, or phone interview, or chat if you want to chat, but the interview by phone or by video. The first requirement was, hey, can we put person interview? And so we had to have that option. It was a similar option. Similar. A late decision we took was that we discovered that it was hard to sell the product going door by door, customer by customer, user by user. The CEO spent a lot of time talking with people. I have a job for you, but first get into the application and you can apply. Hey, you're a small business, this is for you, whatever, blah, blah. And we discovered that going to associations, going to the cities, they could bring us a block of users, group of users at the same time. So, what do we expect for this year? Currently, we have almost 800 users today. We have almost 30 customers this week, and we already did 40 hires in the platform. The application is stable. It's doing what we expect to do, and we could prove that the problem exists and our solution solves. How is that? We received the feedback from many small companies saying, hey, the shop portals are expensive for us. And if we want to have something to manage the hiring process, we have to have another application. If we want to manage the schedule of our employees, we have to have another application. So our solution has all the 3 features, and small businesses are very happy with it. So now, even we are customer optimistic, we are focusing on UX optimization, but we already did a partnership with the Massachusetts Restaurant Association that will provide to us probably 600 users and 100 customers. We developed a UX concept called senior talent. We discovered that senior people are looking for jobs, not for the salary, but for the benefits. And We help some non-profit organizations that are helping them to get these jobs. We help to develop this idea, and we are working with them on more this concept in the application and recruit this senior talent through our application. We're also talking about a partnership with the New Hampshire Landscape Association, another bunch of users, another bunch of customers. And something interesting that we've been selected by the city of Woonsocket in the Massachusetts state to change the way in which they hire people. So we are working with them, and probably we will work with other counties in the Great Boston area. They're interested in working with us. So probably this year we will have a big jump in our user base and customers. Probably we have to regroup the team and start developing again soon. It will happen this year. And the thing is, we expect for the second part of the year that with the economy variables changing, we have to finally go for that round we are looking for, and we expect to have a pretty good round, pretty good first round. So that's it for today. That's my experience. That I hope that it can help you. Anything you need, you can contact me, and